Stay connected with the world through WION. Like the page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter for new alerts. Instagram for videos and images. And the website for the latest news, views and analysis. WIONews.com. World is one.
And welcome to WION live broadcast from London. I'm Oliver Regan and these are the headlines. 4 killed and 11 injured in the Zaporizhzhia region of Ukraine. Ukraine claims Russia carried out 36 targeted strikes on 10 settlements as Ukraine's Zelensky heads to Lithuania for the NATO summit. Germany to send troops to Australia for the first time for joint drills with 12 other nations. German Army Chief says the move highlights the high importance Germany and the European Union give to the Indo-Pacific due to rising interdependencies. Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev wins a third term that will keep him in charge of the Central Asian state until 2030. Russia's Putin and China's Xi Jinping congratulate the president of the gas-rich nation. Protests in Tokyo against Japan's plan to release wastewater from Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific. Backlash in several countries as Japan prepares to discharge the water after the IAEA's nod. And world number 1, Iga Swiatek comes from a set down to beat Olympic champion Belinda Bencic at Wimbledon. The Pole will face Ukraine's Elena Svitolina in the quarter-final.
The world number 1 survives the toughest of tests.
US President Joe Biden is in the UK. He's set to meet King Charles and the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Biden's visit comes ahead of the NATO summit in Lithuania. The White House said Biden seeks to further strengthen the close ties with the UK. King Charles will host Biden at Windsor Castle. According to reports, both of them will discuss a range of topics which include issues related to climate, a topic that King Charles has been advocating for a long time. This will also be the first meeting between Biden and King Charles since the coronation. Later today, Biden will also meet the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak for their 5th meeting in recent times. The meet becomes crucial for a number of reasons. Biden has described the UK as the United States' most close ally. Recently, both the countries signed a new economic partnership, the Atlantic Declaration. However, Sunak's last visit to the United States was not a fruitful one, as Sunak failed to establish the UK's ambitions for a post-Brexit free trade agreement with Washington. However, experts believe Sunak may try again to push for a possible deal with the US, but some analysts predict Biden may reiterate the US's concerns and be more cautious. The two are also expected to discuss Ukraine, British Prime Minister Sunak has opposed the move by the US to supply cluster bombs to Kyiv. Sunak stated that the UK is signatory to a convention which prohibits the production or use of cluster munitions and discourages their use. However, Biden has emphasised on how the move was required because the Ukrainian military is low on ammunition. The US president further said that the bombs would not be used in civilian areas. Well, for more on this, we're joined by our correspondent Alex Isat in London. And Alex, these meetings between Joe Biden and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak are becoming quite frequent. How significant is this latest one?
Well, this is the fifth time that they will have met. Now, this one's particularly quite interesting because it's ahead of the NATO meeting where we understand that Ukraine could be fast-tracked into NATO. Last night, Joe Biden landed at Stansted and headed over to Battersea where he stayed at the US Embassy, and he will be meeting with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak within the next 40 minutes to an hour before heading over to Windsor to meet King Charles. Now, what could be seen as how this could go forward? Well, we do understand that there is a new head of NATO that's going to be called. Obviously, both Rishi Sunak and President Joe Biden as well have people that they want to be putting forward. There has been a lot of conversations with hope, really, that Biden would also help Britain represent themselves going forward as the president. But whether or not that will come out, that will be interesting. It is all going to be based around also Ukraine and the war as well. We do understand that there has been a bit of contention with the fact that Biden and his administration sent over cluster bombs over to Ukraine, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wasn't exactly happy with that moving forward. So that's going to be a conversation, no doubt, as will other monetary and military going over to Ukraine to help stop the war going even longer than it is. Now, when Joe Biden comes to meeting the King Charles, that will be probably mostly likely talking about climate, as you mentioned as well. King Charles is well known for his climate action, and it will be the first time they're meeting. Joe Biden did not attend the coronation of King Charles, but his wife did go in his place. So there was a lot of conversation back then when the coronation happened, suggesting that Joe Biden was more for Ireland becoming one rather than Northern Ireland, and he had his own roots there. So that might come up a conversation. King Charles is known to sometimes mention things that aren't always just safe and easy going. So that should be quite interesting to be a fly on the wall in that case. But it won't be a very long visit, no matter what, because it looks like Joe Biden's itinerary means that he will be leaving the country around 4 p.m. local time, and he will be heading over to Lithuania. So all of those conversations that he have, they're just probably going to be quite brief conversations. Rishi Sunak and Prime Minister Joe Biden will be able to speak again when they head to Lithuania, but for now it's just a short meeting of the minds.
You say a short meeting, but of course Prime Minister Sunak will be attempting to probably rehash this free trade agreement that so far has proved unsuccessful. Do you feel that the UK is still pushing the United States to sign this post-Brexit agreement?
Well, Rishi Sunak has said a number of times now that he is not going to take that forward. It's not going to be what it was set out when President Trump was in charge, which is what a lot of people keep bringing up. But Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has done very well with his own trading for the UK within states within the US. So individual states have their own trading deals. And of course, he also has been working with these huge exports from the UK over to the US, ensuring that there is a fair price for those that have been exporting goods over there. So this overarching trade deal between the UK and US is dead in the water. Rishi Sunak has mentioned it a number of times. The last time he went over to America, he said it on the plane that this wasn't something that he was going to talk about. Right now, he wants to focus on those already trade deals that has already been made, wants to expand that into other US state areas, and also it's about the war and it's about going forward with other projects that Rishi Sunak has. He wants to be the head of AI. He wants to be shown that the UK is all for this climate security. Those are the conversations that he will be having. Those are the ones that he will be pushing forward.
Alex Isaac joining us live from London there. Many thanks. We're just a day away now from the NATO summit. Lithuanian capital Vilnius has already been emboldened as several leaders among the 31 member nations are en route to the city. A host of issues, including war in Ukraine and Sweden's NATO membership, will be discussed. The leaders en route include the US President Joe Biden, as well as Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. While Trudeau on Sunday departed for Latvia, Biden landed in the UK, as we've mentioned, as part of a three-nation tour, which will also include Finland. In Britain, he will be holding talks, as we've said, with the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and King Charles, and this will be his first meeting with the King since the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. While with Sunak, the US President will discuss Ukraine war and environmental-related issues. In Vilnius, a firm challenge awaits Biden as he will have to defend Washington's decision to supply cluster munitions to Ukraine. These munitions are banned by more than 100 nations. Several of the United States' allies, including Canada, Germany and the UK, have already expressed their opposition to this decision. But Washington insists that the move is important for Ukraine, which is facing a shortage of ammunition and a slower than expected counter-offensive against Russia. Apart from this, the participating leaders will also try to chalk out differences upon Kiev's membership to the bloc. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also expected to attend and press for the country's NATO membership. Both Zelensky and Biden have expressed a desire for the same as soon as the war with Russia ends. NATO is expected to present a package of support to Ukraine at the summit. This includes an upgraded cooperation body called the NATO-Ukraine Council. Another country whose membership will be discussed at this summit is Sweden. It has been trying hard to convince Turkey and Hungary to approve its membership bid, but talks have been stuck at an impasse. Biden on Sunday held talks with the Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He said that he wishes to see Sweden joining the alliance as soon as possible. Our next report will tell you more about this discussion.
U.S. President Joe Biden told Turkish Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan that he'd like to welcome Sweden into NATO as soon as possible. That's according to the White House, which said the two leaders discussed a range of issues over the phone on Sunday ahead of an upcoming NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania. Membership to the alliance requires unanimous approval by all NATO members, and Hungary and Turkey have yet to clear the way for Sweden. Turkey accuses Sweden of harboring members of militant groups, mainly supporters of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, who Erdogan says organize demonstrations and finance terrorist groups. Swedish officials say their nation is no safe haven for terrorism.
That person can be prosecuted.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg signaled he would convene a meeting between Erdogan and the Swedish Prime Minister in Vilnius on Monday, before the summit officially starts. Biden will hold talks with NATO leaders on Tuesday and Wednesday. During the summit, allies aim to show support for Ukraine and give Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a sense of what will have to be done to gain NATO membership sometime in the future. In a CNN interview previewing his trip, Biden urged caution for now on Ukraine's drive to join NATO, saying the alliance could get drawn into the war with Russia due to NATO's Mutual Defense Pact. According to Zelensky, an invitation would send a message that the Western Defense Alliance is not afraid of Moscow.
A new migrant crisis is brewing in the United Kingdom, and this time it's linked to social care workers. A report in The Guardian brings out bonded labour-like situations in the UK. UK care operators are being accused of committing abuse on migrant workers. According to the report, in March, around 58,000 migrants moved to the UK to fill in nearly 165,000 vacancies. Unison, which is a healthcare trade union, claims that employees are required to be permanently on call, working 19-hour shifts without breaks. It's also alleged that their wages are being withheld and are required to pay large sums to the recruitment agencies. In one case, a nurse had to give up £10,000 from her salary when she handed in her notice. Charges which are explicitly forbidden by the UK Home Office. And the Home Office are also being imposed on workers. The union has written to the government for intervention. Responding to this, the Health and Social Care Department has issued an appeal asking every incident to be reported to the Labour Abuse Authority. The UK is facing one more challenge, adding to its economic woes. According to a report, British businesses are slowing down hiring. Analysts say this is reflective of the feeling of uncertainty among these firms on the economic outlook of the country. The findings are part of the report released by the UK's Recruitment and Employment Confederation and KPM. As per the data, the number of candidates seeking jobs rose sharply in June. It has reached its highest level since the height of the country's coronavirus restrictions in December 2020. Apart from this, the number of people who got permanent jobs has also declined. The report also finds that the wage growth for the last month dropped to its lowest rate in more than 2 years. All of this has come amidst the ongoing cost of living crisis in the country. The Bank of England has been rapidly raising interest rates to drive down inflation, which has been stubbornly high. It's not that there's a dearth of jobs in the country. Experts say there's a broad shortage of skilled workers in the market, with several sectors like accountancy, construction, teaching, all struggling to find and retain workers. But owing to what has been described as the lingering economic uncertainty, employers are favouring temporary hiring over permanent jobs. The Conservative Party is set to face a media storm as various journalists and media organisations are criticising the Tories for charging press to attend their conference. The Conservative Party is charging journalists almost $1,200, a last-minute press pass to attend the 4-day Conservative conference. Since last autumn, the Conservative Party is demanding journalists pay to cover its annual conference. But this year they have increased that price. Even the ones coming in early are charged around $175. Now around 300 news outlets are protesting the move. This includes journalists from China and Saudi Arabia. Some media outlets have now also started to accuse the Conservative Party for using the move as an attempt to stop journalists from asking questions on migration policy, the economy and the cost of living crisis. Moving on now to a quick update on the ongoing India-UK free trade deal. India's Trade Minister Piyush Goyal will meet his UK counterpart Kemi Badenoch and industry representatives in the UK on July 10th and 11. During his 2-day visit, he is expected to carry forward the talks on a free trade deal with the UK. In a statement, India's Commerce Ministry said the talks will focus on addressing trade barriers, promoting investments and fostering greater cooperation in areas such as technology, innovation and intellectual property rights. The talks come at a time when differences have emerged between the UK and India on some key tariff lines and investment protection rules, including a disagreement over concessions on duties levied by India on car and liquor imports. And now, from the world of showbiz, does Mickey Mouse feel threatened by artificial intelligence? Are Marvel fans getting a Shang-Chi sequel soon? And is the box office defying expectations? Well, we answer all of these questions in our next report.
Artificial intelligence and the threat it possesses to professions across the entertainment industry has been a constant source of worry in Hollywood. However, Brett Iwan, the actor who voices Mickey Mouse, said that he feels differently. He stated, and we quote, "I don't think anything can replace the heart of a character, and more importantly, the heart of storytelling," unquote. Iwan is one of just 4 people to have been Mickey's official voice. Actor Simu Liu recently took to social media to share an update on the Shang-Chi sequel, which is currently in development. He said that the dates for the sequel keep getting pushed back due to circumstances beyond his control. However, he didn't give further details on what those circumstances are. Several other Marvel projects have also been delayed due to the ongoing Hollywood writers' strike, including Thunderbolts and Blade. Indiana Jones's reign atop the box office has been short-lived. Disney's action-adventure dropped to the number 2 spot in its second weekend of release. It was dethroned by Sony's horror thriller Insidious: The Red Door, which beat expectations with its $32.6 million debut. The film did better than its previous installment from 2018 and is the most any horror movie has earned in its debut in the past 2 years.
Cameron Smith is going to carry some serious momentum into his title defence at the British Open in just 10 days' time. That's after taking a wire-to-wire win at Live Golf's London Invitational. Smith, he held off the 2018 Masters champion Patrick Reed in the third and final round, but Reed's 4 aces squad won the team competition. The Australian